Hey guys, it's Jen. I thought before I put you on fast forward, I would share a few things with you about the layout that I'm going to make. So this is my first layout with the homemade kit that I showed you in a previous video. I'll link to that below. But I just wanted to point out that this is a photo from our Disneyland trip, and in my Disneyland album, I am doing all of my pages on white with a colored cardstock border, and then I can layer up whatever I want in the middle. So just as an FYI, I am starting this that way. I thought that this might be helpful for some of you to know. When working with kits, sometimes people find it hard to choose the photos. You wonder whether you should find the photo first and then try to match it, or if you find the papers or whatever that you want to love and then find a photo to match the papers. I kind of find that within each kit, at least at the beginning, I can kind of make the papers match what I want to. So this particular photo doesn't have a lot of bold colors except for red, and I know that there's red in the kit, and so this is a great choice for me. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and put you on fast forward.
Hi guys, so like I said, I'm using this photo from our recent family vacation to Disneyland, and I love this photo because it shows everybody out on the ramp to get onto the airplane, and this is a smaller airport that we're flying out of, a local airport, and so you get to walk out onto the tarmac and walk onto the plane, which is really fun, especially for the kids to actually see the plane as you're walking onto it. And so I just love this photo. So what I'm doing is cutting down, like I mentioned before, I'm using white cardstock and mounting it on a colored cardstock, so I'm just cutting that down. And then I thought with these older sassafras number chipboard stickers that it would be kind of fun to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 like blast off, but instead I'm going to put and we're off. And so I'm going to use those numbers in that way because I think numbers are sometimes hard to use. On my thickers, I always have the numbers left over. So I thought that this was a good way to use those numbers. And I'm kind of finding as I'm working with this kit a little bit that combination of that orangey red color and this kind of greeny yellow color is very 70s, and so I'm struggling with that just a little bit, but I'm making it work, and I think it still looks relevant and not too dated or like I'm trying to look too retro. So I'm just playing around with the placement of where I want those letters to be, and I thought about putting the title just along the right side of the layout, but I think I'm going to center it over the top of the photo. And now I'm trying to decide how to layer up some different things behind the photo. I absolutely love a diagonal stripe for like a photo mat, and so that's what I'm doing with this what is it called? Navy. This navy vellum from My Mind's Eye. And I just love the way that looks. And then I'm using a piece of this Amy Tangerine paper that has, it's aqua with a darker aqua triangle on it, just as a layer. And then this is also an Amy Tangerine piece this reddish color, and I'm just trying to make kind of a layered photo mat. I'm going to go back and forth a few times on how I want that mat to lay, and eventually it's going to end up something like this, and I'm going to center the photo rather than stick it to the right like I thought I was going to. So I'm going to dovetail the ends of these pieces of patterned paper, and I cut it in half to stretch it so it looks like it goes across the whole thing, but it doesn't. That way I conserve paper, and also because I already cut the paper without knowing that I was going to do this, that just helps me so that I don't have to cut another piece of paper. So what I'm doing now is I'm using the grid lines on my mat to help me line up these pieces since I cut them in half to know exactly where I want to put them. And I'm going to glue those other pieces behind it. And I'm using the grid again to just kind of eyeball and line up where that reddish orange Days of the Week paper will go. And I like the centered look of that. So now I'm going through some of my embellishments and trying to decide what I can include on this layout. These are the I Am collection from Simple Stories. They're die cuts, and it includes a suitcase, and then I'm going to pull out the sticker sheet, and it also has a suitcase. So I'll use both of those suitcases on this layout, which is perfect because we're going on vacation. And there are also a few tickets that I'll pull out as well. I'm looking through the tags from the Notes and Things tag package that I pulled from, and I will end up, I don't think I end up using any of the tags. So I'm looking through the stickers to see what else I can add. Here's that other little suitcase, and I am just using my EK Success powder tool to take the sticky off of that sticker because I don't know exactly where I want it to go yet, so I want to move it around. So I love that powder tool because I'm non-committal. So I keep playing around with that little yellow piece that says on our way or on my way, but I'm not going to end up using it. It's not quite the right color of yellow. Now I'm looking through the 6x6 paper pad to see if there are any little bits that I can add. I kind of feel like something's just missing from this. And in the video, you can see the lines through the photo of that paper that I mounted it with, but in real life, you really can't see them that well. I don't know if it's just the light shining down on it, but it doesn't bother me though. So again, I'm just looking through the die cuts to see what else I might be able to add. I'm trying to decide if I want that on a different cardstock background. I tried the yellow, but that was way too 70s for me. Like I said, I struggled a little bit with the combination of that yellow and that orangey red because of the 70s vibe. So I'm putting a little bit of foam adhesive behind that suitcase, and I'm going to layer it on top of the other suitcase. I haven't stuck it down yet, but I'm thinking about it. And below the title, I did put that So Very Blessed little die cut. And so here's the way I know that I put together this kit, but I'm not super hard on myself, and I knew that I had some basic gray stuff that would match these colors and that had a lot of travel-y themed stuff in it. And so I just went through my die cuts and pulled out two things, this Let's Go little airplane and then a little tag that says Western Transport, which I thought both were perfect. And they're not exactly navy, but they bring out that navy color. So before I adhere anything down to my layout, I'm going to go ahead and stitch that white cardstock down to the base. And I did decide to go on the light side of that We Are Memory Keepers cardstock. And I'm just stitching a simple line around the edges. This sewing machine is one that I've had since high school. I got it for Christmas one year because I begged my mom for it. I was in a sewing class and I really loved it. It's just a really cheap Kenmore sewing machine. If you're looking for a sewing machine for scrapbooking, I would suggest just getting an inexpensive sewing machine that you could get like maybe at Walmart or something like that. What you just saw me doing was I was eating a snow cone, and actually it's not a snow cone, it's just the plain snow. I love that stuff. It's so refreshing, just the plain snow, and it's only a quarter, so it's awesome. Anyway, now I'm trying to decide how I'm going to layer up the embellishments on the side, and I think I'm going to go ahead and get my title stuck down, and I'm just spreading the numbers out just a little bit. I thought I was going to put dots in between them, so it looked like I was counting down, but in the end I squish them back together a little bit, and I don't worry about that. And that letter sheet from We Are Memory Keepers, those yellow letters, it didn't have an apostrophe, but the periods are kind of square shaped, and so I used that for an apostrophe. I always struggle with apostrophes because some letters don't include them, and it seems like I always want to put don't or can't or we're or I don't know. I use a lot of contractions. So now I'm getting those letters stuck down. I put foam adhesive behind that Let's Go airplane, and these letters I think they're from 2008 or 2009 or something like that. not the letters, the numbers from Sassafras, and the adhesive backs on them are like new. It's pretty impressive. So I did put my title on wax paper if you didn't notice that. I love doing that because, again, I'm non-committal, and so that lets me move things around. These letter stickers from We Are Memory Keepers stick pretty well, so I'm not adding any extra adhesive, although if they were thickers, I probably would. And I am putting down that little banner, and I'm putting regular adhesive in the center, and then I popped up the edges with foam tabs. I have had questions about those foam tabs in the past. I have never seen them for sale in a store before. I got them at the American Crafts warehouse sale, which I happen to live near American Crafts headquarters, and they just have a local, it's just for locals, a warehouse sale, which usually only lasts a month, but it's lasted for like 8 months now. I think they're going to keep it open for a while. And I got them there, so I'm sorry. Because I don't know where you can get those, but it's a thin foam adhesive. And I know that there are a lot of companies that sell that. So I'm just grabbing a little bit from this 6x6 paper pad of yellow cardstock or yellow pattern paper to stick behind that ticket, and it has a little heart in it. And I'm going to use that. And then I'm looking for another little bit. There's a little gap between that Western Transport tag and the suitcases, so I'm looking for something I can stick in that gap, but I'm just not happy with the way that it's looking. I'm going to move all of this stuff around over and over again because I just can't decide how I want to cluster things around that photo. I think when I stick the photo off to the side, then I know, like if I stick the photo at the bottom right, then I know that I can cluster on the left of the photo. There's plenty of space for that, and I don't feel the need to cluster on the right because there's not a lot of room. But when I center it, sometimes I have a hard time deciding. So this is similar to what I'm going to end up with. I put that Western Transport tag along the bottom, and I like that better. I'm just putting a little bit of twine through to make it look like an actual tag. And I will layer that up with the suitcase. And then that ticket is hanging out right there, but for now, but I'm going to move it. I thought about putting embellishments all along the bottom of the photo, so that's kind of the idea that I'm toying with right now. In the end, it changes a little bit, but it's similar to this. So I'm looking for a shot of color, and I found this branding strip on the bottom of a Chamel paper, and it has kind of all of the colors that are in the layout, and I love diagonal stripes. I already said that before. I'm going to just cut a little piece, and I'm going to tuck it behind the suitcase and run it along the bottom of the photo. And I'm cutting along one of those diagonal strips to give it an interesting edge. So I just place that down, and then I'm going to put my tag on top of it and glue that down as well. And I think I end up deciding to place the ticket right above the suitcases, and I go through my die cuts and find another one that has a star in it, and so I'm going to end up using both of those tickets. So I'm just trying to decide where I want to put those. I like the idea of the tickets because we're going on a plane and you need plane tickets, even though these tickets aren't like plane tickets, but it's the whole idea behind it. I really like for my embellishments and things to have a little bit of meaning like that. So I've decided that these aren't standing out well enough, so I'm just using my Muji pen and outlining the tickets. And I'm just doing it very quick and not too carefully because I don't care that much. And I'm just looking for something to back that star with. I'm going to go back to my 6x6 paper pad and pick out this little piece of teal paper and stick it behind the star. And I'm using Scotch Quick Dry adhesive in a fine line applicator bottle for that. And I will have all of these products linked below and also on my blog. So I'm just going to place those kind of in an interesting way behind the suitcases, and I'm making sure that there's not a gap between the suitcases and the tickets. And then I decide to outline some of the other papers, and I made it hard on myself by deciding this now because I've already glued everything down, but I'm going to make it work and just lift things up a little bit. So just outlining the edges of those papers. And I'm going to outline the edge of that little branding strip, that diagonal stripe there as well. And I'm not going to outline really anything else besides this So Very Blessed little tab. And then I'm just going to leave the rest alone. And now I'm going to go ahead and get my journaling down. So I'm going to draw some lines with a ruler here. And I just have a clear ruler. I like this ruler. It's nice and thin, which I don't know. I like that because sometimes when a ruler is thicker, I don't really know where the line is actually going. I feel like I can feel where the line is going on with this ruler. So just drew some lines there, and I'm just writing down kind of our experience and how excited we were for vacation, and how a week at Disneyland, well, we didn't spend a whole week, but 5 days at Disneyland sounded like heaven, and so that's what I'm writing about now. And I use my handwriting quite often. I think I'm just a little too lazy, or I don't plan things out well enough in advance to type things up. I do have a large format printer where I could type up, like I could type on print on a 12 by 12 piece of paper. So I could type out my journaling and stuff, but I don't have enough forethought for that. Sometimes I use my typewriter and I'll add it, but my typewriter can't handle a 12 by 12 piece of paper. So I'm adding some mist, and this is Studio Calico something. I will link it below. I can't remember what it's called right this second. And I'm going to use a roller date stamp. I found a few. One of them's a Dear Lizzie, and it says, well, actually, I think I just used the Dear Lizzie one. There's one stamp that says Let's Fly Away, which is absolutely perfect, and then one that says Smiles. I can't remember if it's on the same one or not, but like I said, I will link them below for sure. And then I'm also going to stamp the actual date with my Chamel roller date stamp, and I'm just putting November 2014. And I'm using Close to My Heart Outdoor Denim ink. It's a nice navy color, and that is going to complete the layout. I hope that you've enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching, and you can find links to the products that I used, if they're still available, below, as well as over on my blog, where you can find much more information and still photos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.